Hey y'all, Toad here. Come on, who don't like fresh bread? Anyway, I make all the bread we eat here at Frog Toad Manor. So I've been asked just to go ahead and throw out my simple recipe. And believe me, it is simple. So let's get started. Okay, now it's going to be warm, obviously, because the butter was frozen and I just used the microwave to go ahead and get it ready to go. But now we got to throw in the yeast. Now it's really important that the mixture not be too hot, because you'll kill the yeast. And ideally you want it, right around 100 degrees, give or take. And we'll use some of my real careful measuring here. And I put in about, I don't know, half, 3/4 of a tablespoon. And what's going to happen now is that yeast is going to find the sugar in the honey, and it is going to go to town while we get the rest of the ingredients going. We'll come back. Sorry, I hit the tripod. When we come back, I'll show you this before I put it in, and it'll be a glob of lively yeast ready to make our bread. Got about a little over 2 cups of warm but not hot water. And then I'm going to add about 2 cups of wheat flour. Just a little pinch of salt. You know, as you can see, I'm into hyper measurements there. And now we'll go ahead and add our very thickened now, because the yeast has been eating it. That was the butter and honey mix. So I seem to, there it is. Misplaced my blade. And then we're gonna just pop the mixing blade on there. And I don't put the guard on for this, because we're just gonna turn this on low and let it do its thing. Do that for a couple seconds, shut it off, go ahead and just get the stuff from the side, because I want all of it. And then I'm just going to let this go at low speed for about 3 or 4 minutes. And what I do is, when all this stuff is going on, I'm cleaning other stuff. And I'm actually making more than one batch today, so this might... We'll see how this video works out. It might be all cut up, because actually while I'm talking to you making this one, there's already another one on its second rising in the Excalibur. So we'll be back when the next thing happens. Okay, now, it's been a few minutes. That stuff is well mixed up. And now, basically what I'm going to do is just keep adding regular flour until I get a consistency that I like. Yeah, start with like 3. We're usually in the ballpark there. Probably have to add, might have to add some more, we'll see. And we will switch over to the dog. And yeah, now with all that flour in there, we'll put this foolish little guard on. This thing's actually not designed real well. It does the job, but I don't like it. And we'll see how that does. Let that go for a little bit. And, you know, I'm not going to bore you with, the mixer spinning around. And all I'm going to do is just keep adding the regular white flour until I get a dough that I'm ready to go ahead and flop over on the counter, do the first kneading, get it all set, and put it out to rise. So we'll be back around that time. Alright, so let me get this out of the bowl. And there's our blob. Now, I don't think I mentioned, but this is actually going to make 2 loaves of bread. And I don't know the size of the pans. You'll see them. I picked those pans size-wise because, when we buy store bread every once in a great while, usually when I'm getting ready to go out of town and I don't want, you know, leftover bread in the freezer. I just want to use it up. I don't like keeping a lot of bread in the freezer. Anyway, once in a while we buy store-bought bread and we keep the bags. And these pans that you'll see later, they create loaves that fit very well inside the store-bought bread bags. So, into the... This is actually a popcorn bowl. And it's got a little spritz of, you know, like Pam. It's not, mine's generic. And I spray a little bit on top because that kind of keeps it from getting a hard crust while it's rising. All right, now let me show you where I get the rising thing done. Now this is what I use to rise the bread. It's very cold outside, and we don't keep our house super hot. And the Excalibur, this is the 9-tray version, makes an excellent chamber for raising the bread. It'll be in here, oh, I don't know, on very low heat. It's probably 110, 115 degrees or whatnot. And I'll just set one of the timers for 90 minutes, and it'll do its thing while I'm off doing something else. This is actually my secondary place to rise. The primary you've already seen, but it only fits one bowl. And I haven't figured out quite how to do that, make more stuff fit in there. But this old bass amp, it's a tube amp, and it stays pretty warm all the time. So I just set it on top of there, throw a towel over the whole thing so the cat isn't tempted or nothing that may be flying around here gets into it. And it works almost as good as the other way. But hey, so if you're a guitar player or bass player or whatever, and you just happen to have an amp hanging around, you have a rising rack. Okay, got it over here on the counter, and this is just got some flour out there so it doesn't stick. It's amazing how this stuff will even stick to the cultured marble. And now we're just gonna do a second kneading here. And it puffed up, I don't know, maybe about 15%, I guess. Be a guess. But we're going to knead it up here really good. And then we're going to divide it. So let me get... Yeah, I know I should be all prepared when I turn on the video camera, right? Well, I'm not. Deal with it. So, I need one of them little cutting doohickeys, but right now I just use this old knife. Throw one aside. Grab a couple of pans. And I just use some typical spray non-stick junk. You know, works good for me. I suppose you can use butter. Hey, I like the easy part. So I'll just go back here and get ready to make a loaf. And literally, just what it sounds like. There's the pan, and just kind of form it up a little bit, and plop it in the pan. Get the other one. Now I'm leaving this stuff all out because usually when I make bread, I'll make bread all day. You know, because most of the time is taken up in the rising. And I go off and do other stuff while it's rising. Poof. Loaf. And there we go. And the bottom line is I'm going to stick this back into the Excalibur for another 90 minutes. See you in a bit. Okay, we've got about 6 minutes to go for the bread to come out. So what I'm going to do is preheat the oven to 350 degrees, and when the timer goes off, in it's going to go, and I put the bread in for 35 minutes. So we'll be back when it comes out of here. Alright, we want to make sure that the bread, the tops of the bread, are all nice and brown So what we're going to do is we're taking these out one at a time. And got our little feather brush deal here. And we're going to brush the tops with butter. This, like I said, will go ahead and let the bread brown up real nice. Now I had them in these loaves. I've got some other stuff going, which actually, you might have already seen it. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Sometimes I don't release videos all at the same time. And sometimes somewhat out of order. Being the highly professional videographing system we got going on here, you know what I'm trying to say. Anyway, so we're going to do all the loaves like that. And put them back in for about, I don't know, about 4 or 5 minutes. And we'll see what they look like when they come out. Alright, it is time to take out the bread. And I got 4 loaves in here, so I'm just going to grab one as soon as I find my other oven mitt. Funny how they walk away like this. That's amazing. I can't tell you how many times I'll do this. There it is. You know, you find one mitt and you'll be using it, put it down, then you'll lose it. So, here is the first. Like I said, I'll just show you one of the 4. There it is. You know, just nothing super special. Just a honey wheat loaf of bread. And let me grab one more because 2 go on the rack. And this is what we eat. It's just a little bit more expensive than store-bought bread. And for those of you who watch my channel, you know that I'm getting into beekeeping in a big way. And I'm almost positive once I do that and start getting a reasonable amount of honey coming in from the enslaved insects, then yeah, it's actually going to be cheaper to make this bread than to buy it. And of course, you know, we're always looking for ways to save a buck, you know. And personally, I like this bread better than any store-bought bread. All right, well, I would be totally remiss if I didn't mention and show you the absolute best part about making your own bread. Ooh, that's warm. Look at that thing steaming. I don't know if it's coming off on the camera, but it is steaming. And God knows I need better knives. But man, the inside of that is just so fluffy. Look at that. And I hope that steam coming up is showing. But there's just something about warm, let me get it in the camera, right out of the oven, homemade bread and real butter. You know, like I said, we always try and save money around here, but there's a couple of places that we try not to skimp too much. And one of them is the butter. You know, I'm not going to put that stuff that you buy that's like, what, 1 molecule off of plastic to put on homemade bread. It's just not going to happen. In fact, in our house, the 2 places that we use butter all the time for are in the bread making and me on my popcorn. I just, I use real butter on popcorn. It seems like an absolute waste not to. Heck, if you compare popping popcorn to buying Doritos or potato chips or something, all of a sudden using real butter doesn't sound expensive. Let me try this. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Nummy. So, that's Toad's. Hey, I'm talking with my mouth full. My mother would slap me. Anyway, that's Toad's pretty simple bread recipe. Hope you all enjoyed it. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll catch you next time around.